Howdy-ho, neighborinos. It's time for another spine-tingling edition to Cyber Force Surveillance 101. This week, I wanted to do something special. This is Cybersecurity for Surveillance Part 20. So I decided to offer a little pop quiz. That's right, I'm going to offer 20 questions based on my videos to see if you have either A, paid attention to my past videos, or B, just happen to be cyber aware of all this stuff so you don't really need my videos. As always, since these are all contained in my previous videos, you don't need to be a techie to get the answers. And of course, we have fabulous prizes for anyone who does well. First prize is, well, you're less likely than the average computer user to get your computer hacked. So there's that. Other than that, we can also offer bragging rights. Yay! So without any further ado, let's roll. Okay, we are ready to start. But before I do, let me give you the skinny on how this is going to go. For brevity's sake, I am not going to do all the questions and then go back and do all the answers. I'm going to go through the slideshow one time. So I will give you the question, and then I will do a short countdown from 5 down to 1. At any time during that time, you can pause the video, think about the question, write it out if you want to, and once you think you either have the answer or you really have no clue as to what the answer is, you just continue on the video and I'll give you the answer after I do the countdown. So here is question number 1, and the question is, the main difference between spam and phishing is that blank is fraudulent while blank is not. So I'll give you the answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. The answer is that phishing is fraudulent, while spam is not. By very definition, phishing is where a bad guy is pretending to be something or somebody that he is not. All right, question number 2. True or false? One good way to determine if a link in a suspicious email is legitimate is by hovering over it, looking at the full URL at the bottom of the screen, and by clicking on the link. I'll be giving you the answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And it is false. No, you do not click on the link in a suspicious email. What you do is you hover over the link, you look at the full URL at the bottom of the screen, and then you determine from there that you, whether it looks suspicious or not, you can right-click on it and copy it to a notepad, and then you can do further analysis on it if you like. But under no circumstances do you click on a URL in a suspicious email. Okay, now we come to question number 3, and the question is, if you receive an email you're not expecting with a link, but you recognize the sender, what's the next step? And I will provide the answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the answer is, you contact the alleged sender. And of course, you also should know that you contact this sender by another means. Obviously, if you get an email from someone and you are wondering about the link, the last thing you should do is reply to the email and ask them if the link is legitimate. Because if they have compromised this person's email account, then obviously the bad guy is going to tell you that the link is totally legit. So what you do is you contact the alleged sender via calling or text. Question number 4. True or false? One good way to examine a suspicious email is to click to reply and check the email address in the to field of the new email to compare it with the alleged sender's address. I'll give you the answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here you go. Yes, it is true. Hopefully you didn't actually need 5 full seconds to answer that one. Yeah, it's obviously true. That is a great way to help you determine if this email is actually coming from the sender that it claims to be. Okay, on to the next question. And that is, regarding using your browser to manage your passwords, one possible advantage over using a password manager is A, cost, B, extra security, C, flexibility, or D, transferability. And the answer I will put up in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And here you go. The answer is cost. All the others you really don't get with a browser, using a browser to manage your passwords for you. With flexibility and transferability, I really meant the same thing with that. It's the exact opposite, actually. If you use a browser to manage your passwords, you obviously can't use another browser. And extra security, really, you don't have that over a password manager. Okay, next question. Question number 6. The 3 forms of authentication are something you blank, something you blank, and something you blank. I will give you the answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here you go. It is something you know, have, and are. An example of something you know would be a password. An example of something you have would be an ATM card. And something you are would be like your fingerprint. Okay, question number 7. Patch Tuesday for Windows usually is on the blank Tuesday of the month. I will give you the answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the answer is 2nd Tuesday of the month. Hopefully you knew that. All right, next we have question number 8. And that question is, when did Microsoft officially stop update support for Windows 7? And I really just need the month and the year. I will provide the answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the answer is January of 2020. And obviously the reason I'm bringing this up is if you happen to be one of those poor souls out there who is still using Windows 7, you need to get off that. I did recently find out that you can still get Windows 10 upgraded from a legitimate Windows 7 machine. There's no excuse not to do that. You really need to do that. So anyway, next we have question 9, which is vishing, with a V as in Victor, is like phishing, except it's using a blank instead of email. I will provide the answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the answer is a phone. That is when someone calls you on the phone and pretends to be someone that they are not. Okay, we are now at the halfway mark at question number 10. And the question is, true or false, a representative of Microsoft might initiate a call to do tech support for you. And I'll provide the answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the answer, of course, is false. If you took 5 seconds to actually answer that question, shame on you. Under no circumstances will a representative of Microsoft or any legitimate tech support or IT support or anyone from the IRS or anyone from your bank will initiate a call to you. Just take that as a given that if you get a call from anybody who claims to be any of those things, they are lying to you. Okay, we are now at question 11, and the question is, per best practice, you should never use a public Wi-Fi service, for example, Starbucks or at a hotel, without using a blank. And I'll provide the answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the answer, of course, is a VPN. As I've said before, if you are thinking about using a public Wi-Fi service without using a VPN, you should really sit down until the feeling goes away. Under no circumstances should you do that. You have no idea who is running that network. You have no idea when that router was maintained. You have no idea who else is on that network with you. Just don't do it. Okay, and we are now up to question number 12. And that question is, a VPN encrypts your outgoing internet traffic at the VPN server, your computer, or the web server of the website you're browsing to. And I will provide the answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the answer is your computer. That's why it is so important to use a VPN service if you do choose to use any type of public Wi-Fi, because the VPN service encrypts your outgoing internet traffic at the point of your computer. So theoretically, even if a bad guy was intercepting your traffic between your computer and the router, which takes you out to the internet, theoretically, they should not easily be able to decipher your internet traffic. So that's why it's so important. Okay, we are now up to question number 13. And that question is, another way to say off-site storage is using the blank. And I'm going to make it really easy for you. The word I'm thinking of starts with a C. I will give you the answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the answer is cloud. As I mentioned before, another way of thinking of the cloud is just whenever you hear the word cloud, just think in your mind other people's computers. It is stored in data centers, which are guarded with men with guns and surrounded with barbed wire fences and security systems and such. And so that's why I actually recommend that you store your data backups off-site instead of on-site. So anyway, that's another way of saying off-site. Okay, on to question 14, and that question is, true or false, one of the few disadvantages of using VirusTotal is that it might take a while to finish its in-depth analysis. And I will provide the answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the answer is false. When I did a video on freebie cybersecurity tools, I was very specific about Joe's Sandbox. I love that service. It does very in-depth analysis, but one of the disadvantages of using it is it does take a while. I've seen it take up to 30 minutes. VirusTotal, on the other hand, it's almost instantaneous. I usually see it take 5 seconds or less to provide its analysis for you, because really it's not doing analysis itself. What it does is it queries all of these other services and asks them, have they ever seen this before? So that's the difference between the two. On to question 15. And that question is, true or false, the National Institute of Standards and Technology has never recommended that you change your password on a regular basis. And the answer will be provided in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the answer is false. As I mentioned in my little rant about this on my video, the standards for NIST a few years ago were that you need to change your password on a regular basis. And as it turns out, the guy who came up with that, he confessed a couple of years ago that he was just making stuff up. He didn't really know what he was talking about. NIST no longer recommends that you change your password on a regular basis. There is no need to do that as long as you maintain good password practices. Okay, we are now up to question number 16, and the question is, true or false, the problem with some VPN services is not that they have access to your internet browsing, but that they keep logs of your browsing and might have a financial purpose for them. I'll provide the answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the answer is true. As I mentioned in my video of a cautionary tale on free VPNs, that's actually fairly normal for VPN services to have access to your internet browsing. It makes sense because they are the ones who have to encrypt it for you. That's fairly normal. What is not normal is for them to keep logs of your browsing and then to monetize them, which is what was happening with some quote free end quote VPN services. Okay, we are up to question 17. We're in the home stretch now, and that is true or false. If you suspect your email account has been compromised, you don't need to run a scan on your computer, and I will provide the answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the answer is false. Now, you might have guessed from my wording of the question, I really couldn't come up with a better verbiage on it. But as I mentioned in my video, my email has been hacked. What should I do? I point out that if you suspect your email account has been compromised, if the bad guys have gotten a hold of your email address and the password for your account, well, they didn't get those credentials from the Easter Bunny or Santa Claus. There is a very real possibility that they got your email credentials from malware, which is on your computer. So one of the first things you need to do, and maybe even the first thing that you ought to do, if you think that your email account has been compromised, you need to run an anti-malware, antivirus scan on your machine pronto. So anyway, okay, we are up to question 18, and that question is, true or false, if you suspect your computer has been compromised, the first thing you should do is to attempt to run a scan on it with your anti-malware software. And the answer will be provided in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the answer is true. This really should have been a no-brainer for you. As I mentioned in my video, my email has been hacked. What should I do? The author of the article kind of veered into territory of what to do if your computer has been compromised, which is fine. And of course, really, the first thing you should do if you suspect your computer has been compromised, you got to run your anti-malware or antivirus software immediately on it. And really, I recommend that you run a second different anti-malware software after the first one is done, because nobody catches everything. Okay, we're up to question 19. And that question is, of these payment options, which is the most secure? Is it a debit card? Is it a credit card? Or is it Venmo? And I'll provide the answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The answer is a credit card. If you answered Venmo, then you have not seen my video on payment options, which are the most secure. I go on a rant about Venmo. I really wish this was more publicized out there. They have had some serious security problems, and I, for one, am not satisfied that they have rectified these issues at all. If you want to see the evidence, you can go to my video, and I have links there. The one on secure payment options. Okay, finally we are at question 20, which is the official last question of this rigorous exam. Hey, why are you applauding over there? Oh, anyway. Okay, so the question is, what are the 3 most important things I recommend that every person on the internet use at all times, or at least whenever possible? And I will be providing the answers in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the first answer, of course, is a password manager. I cannot imagine a person in this day and age securely getting onto and navigating the internet without a password manager. It really is essential. Number 2, you might have guessed, would be two-factor authentication. And of course, the reason why I had to put the little caveat there, or at least whenever possible, in parentheses at the end of that question, was because there are multiple websites out there which host sensitive data for their customers, and they're not using 2FA, which it sets my teeth on edge. So anyway, the third one might be a little tougher than the first 2, but it is really important. I highly recommend that everybody also get a dark web monitoring service. I talk about this in my video on the dark web. You might be totally cyber aware and doing all the right things, but the websites that you're logging into and hosting your data, they may not be as secure as you are. So for that reason, I strongly recommend that people get a dark web monitoring service. Okay, just in case you think you did rather poorly on this exam, I have decided to add a bonus question. And that question is, what is the best sport in the world and why is it Dallas Stars hockey? Totally kidding. What is my tip on answering security questions when you're setting up a new account? And as always, I'll provide the answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the answer is either lie or use your password manager to input a randomized password, just like you do your regular passwords. Under no circumstances should you answer a security question with the correct answer. Why would you do that? And as always, of course, I have a video on this as well. Okay, so how'd you do? Maybe, possibly, hopefully, you were keeping notes on how many questions you got correct and or incorrect. And this is my totally objective criteria for grading yourself on this exam. If you got between 18 and 20 questions correct, can you do me a huge favor and just take over the video series for a while? Apparently you know about as much about this stuff as I do. If you got between 15 to 17 correct, that's really good. You either know a lot of stuff about cybersecurity or you've been watching these videos pretty closely. If you got between 10 and 14 correct, that's not bad. You probably should go back and watch my videos on the subjects, on the questions you missed, but you probably are head and shoulders above most people out there. If you got between 5 and 9 correct, you really could do better. This probably means that you got some wrong, which you really should have gotten right. And then finally, if you got between 0 and 4 correct, assuming, of course, that you just didn't purposefully bomb the exam, then quite frankly, you need to turn off your computer and step away from the keyboard. You just might hurt yourself and those you love. I'm kind of sort of teasing about that last one, but not really. Assuming again that you did not just purposefully bomb the exam, then that really probably means that you haven't been watching any of my videos, and you really are missing a lot of material to keep yourself secure online. Quite frankly, my strong recommendation is that you go ahead and start watching my videos from the beginning and just start working your way through them for what it's worth. So hopefully you did as well on this quiz as you expected to. And really, I hope that you enjoyed it half as much as I did putting it together. And maybe you need to binge some videos. Anyway, if you want to be notified when I post new videos, then click the subscribe button below. And as always, thanks so much for watching, and God bless.